So I wanted to do a video talking about the 300-2.8 for football. Now, typically at a day game, I go with a 6 and a 3. But last week, I ended up in Birmingham to shoot the UFL game there, and I had to fly to Chicago first and then drive from Chicago to Birmingham and then drive home to Tennessee. So because I had to fly, I fly cheap, and I couldn't bring a huge bag full of gear. So I just went with an A1 Mark II and the 300-2.8 with a 1.4 converter and a rain cover. Because if you don't bring the rain cover, it always rains. That's just a fact of sports photography. So what I want to do is talk mostly about the 300-2.8. And before we get into the game that I shot last week, I wanted to go the week before where I did have two lenses, and I wanted to show the pictures that I got from the 300 as a prime. And this was a really, really beautiful, jubilation from a touchdown. And I was so fortunate to get this. I was the fingertip flip of the ball, and it was really cool. So very happy with that. And this is a 300 prime here. Note my shutter speed, 6400th of a second at 2.8 at 640 ISO. I'm really, really greedy about shutter speed. You cannot get sharp pictures without a very, very high shutter speed in sports photography, period. This is the jubilation after that touchdown, which is kind of cool. I just like the two of them together. The other thing to note is I'm on the sideline. I'm on the side of the end zone here. Probably mid end zone as my guess from the look of this. And I'm looking right at the goalpost. So I'm slightly forward of where they are. And look at the background. Even the sound guy here with the parabolic dish is like a fuzzball. This guy's eking in the frame. He's doing the same thing I'm doing, but he's working for the UFL and for Fox Sports or whatever, so he gets to do whatever the hell he wants. The 300 gives you a little more room around the frame to work with. I crop in all the time when I shoot the 3 as a prime, but sometimes it's just the right lens. And, a picture like this with a 6, I might have lost the ball, for instance, or a 4 with a 1.4. So this is, 4000-2.8 at 2.8 at 500 ISO. And then here he is trying to release the ball in traffic. And I like this picture a lot. It's kind of cool. But again, look at the background, especially up here, the 6 fans that are in this picture. Sorry, UFL. They're just out of focus. I mean, it's gone. It's a very pleasant bokeh. The lens has a great bokeh. Here's a quarterback under pressure, getting rid of the ball in air. Really nice. Now I'm a little cattywampus in terms of the framing. I'm a little crooked. But there's a turf. The field has a height to it, and the crown is pretty high and for drainage or whatever. But still, I probably could have tweaked this a little better. The 300-2.8 GM is freaking sharp. It is just rip your eyes out sharp. I mean, it is such a pleasure to use a lens like this. Let me just pull this out just so we can get a little closer. I mean, I know this is just 4K video on YouTube and they stomp on it with compression, but look at that. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love the sharpness of this lens. It's just it's a tremendous asset to what I do all the way around. Here's the kickoff. Again, if I shot this with a 4, maybe I get the ball in the frame, maybe I crop it out. You get a little more room all the way around everything. And so this is kind of nice, although his head's supposed to be down, I think. I don't think it's supposed to be where it is right now. But anyway, that's for the kicking coach, not for me to be concerned with. It's kind of nice when you get the lineup of the receiver and the quarterback who's throwing to the receiver in the same frame. This happens a lot more with a 300-2.8 than it does with a 400-2.8, as an example. It got a little dark here, and so, at 3200 at 2.8 at 1000 ISO. And here's after the receiver caught the ball and is running and right before he got hit. Note how the 300-2.8 is easily able to get IAF inside of a helmet, in the dark. It's just pretty cool. Okay, this is last week's game. Excuse me. This is last week's game with Houston visiting Birmingham for the UFL game there. What I want you to pay attention to is this right here. So I'm going to leave the marker there. So this is a 300 prime here, 420. So this is the 1.4 converter added to the 300-2.8 because they're a little too far away. Get a nice fingertip release, and this is very cropped in. Again, I'm using A1 Mark II, so I've got all the real estate in the world to play with, 50 megapixels worth, and I can go wherever the action is in the frame. Easy, easy, easy. This is also 420. Notice I'm at 4,000th of a second at 1600 at a day game. Now it is overcast, but I'm still, I'm doing it to it, man. With that shutter speed, you got to keep it high. But this is kind of nice where the defender has obviously missed his assignment and the running back is just gone. There's another one that missed as well. Just nice when you get these little hops. Again, with a 400-2.8 horizontal, this is from a horizontal frame. I crop the bejesus out of this and I get this, which is really nice. Same thing. Just nice how everybody's flying through the air. With a 4, you'd be tighter, and you might miss this guy, number 33 down here. You might miss him. This is a 420 again, millimeter with the 1.4 converter. 420. This is a really nice hit. Guy comes up from behind, jumps on his back, and then twists around. It was really cool. These two frames are, 300-2.8. Once I get in the end zone and they're like inside the 30, I'm going to take the 1.4 converter off and go back to a 300. I'm going to open up I'm going to drop the ISO, which you can see I've done at 800 ISO. So 500-2.8 at 800, 300 prime here. And this is a non-touchdown because even though it looks like he caught the ball, if you look closely, his fingers are not really on it right, and it bounces out, and there's no touchdown, unfortunately. Here's kick return right after the non-touchdown. One of the things that's really cool, by the way, in the UFL is they can do 2-point conversions anytime they want to, and they usually do. And so as a photographer, it's great because if you miss the touchdown, you can get a second shot at them at the end zone right after they do the touchdown, and then maybe you get the 2-point conversion picture. There's just a lot more opportunities for photographers in the UFL versus the NFL. Here's the Houston guy in traffic. He's a big, tall dude, man. Really incredible athlete. Don't know why his shoulder strap's not hooked up there, but, none of my business. But again, the IAF is piercing the face shield. It's going through the face mask. It's just going right to where his eyes are. It's just so easy to make good pictures. This is also 420. Here's a coach working with a player on the sidelines. They're having a discussion, and it's just a really nice moment to look in the sideline look into the bench area from the sideline, and even the Gatorade thing in the background's way out of focus. Everything's out of focus. The guy right next to him's like fuzzball. Just really, 300-2.8 gives you an enormous amount of bokeh, and it really blows the background out extremely well. No, it doesn't do it as well as a 400-2.8, but it's really, really good. Another little hop. I love these hops, 420 millimeters. So this is the 1.4 converter. All these pictures have been cropped, by the way. Almost all of them. Not sure where his left hand's going, but hey, not my game. But just nice. I mean, look at the background, the goalpost and stuff. It's really pleasantly out of focus. Not a problem. I think a lot of people worry about a 4 versus a 3, like they're going to lose that eye candy effect, and I just don't think you do. Here's the QB under extreme pressure, the Stallions quarterback, 420 millimeter. Coaching pictures are great. I mean, you can literally, even though he's got these, polarized lenses that are dimming and all that stuff, it still finds the eye. You can still see that it's sharp. And again, the bokeh is great. The 300-2.8 does a great job. Another coach picture, just same thing. Just got a great look. Really look at the, 3 logos of the team in the single frame, which is really cool. And then Under Armour and all that stuff. That's nice. He does kind of a side hand throw. It's interesting. 420 millimeter, so 1.4 converter. Here I am at the 300 prime. This is kind of a neat picture. If you look, the guy that's tackling the quarterback who's sacking him is actually off the ground. And there's just one toe on the ground of the quarterback. So this is kind of a nice picture. This is cropped in probably half of the frame or something like that. Again, with the A1 Mark II, you can crop all you want to, whenever you want to, wherever you want to. It's just great to have this, I did a tube picture on this. This is a really nice hit. Number 20 is just clocking this guy, this quarterback, the running back, and it's a really nice hit. I love this. I love this guy here. It's kind of funny. I never would have seen him because the frame would have been like cut right here with a 428 as an example. And then the second frame, I went in really close and they're all off the ground. It's just kind of nicer. I think it's a nicer frame than this one. Cleaner. It just looks good. So you can crop all you want to. Here, a little defensive line picture. This is a nice little frame. Good expression on 65. Again, he's kind of a side hand thrower. It's sort of an angle, but it's kind of nice. Really, really cool looking quarterback. This guy just always looks relaxed no matter what's going on. It's kind of cool. Okay, this is right at the end zone. This is an on-goal picture. So number 3 is a running back, and he's trying to get to the end zone. And number 20 has come in from the side, and 3 is kind of stiff-arming him. And you can see all the cool, some pretty good-looking ink there on both of them. But then he falls down. The guy runs around him, so he's going for the corner of the end zone here. Then he leaps in the air. Pretty cool, all the way off the ground. And then you get the face as he's coming down into the end zone for the touchdown. Just the face is so cool. I wish I had this with this face, but I don't. So anyway. And then the reaction. Reaction with 302A is really nice. And by the way, this is all 300 prime. This whole play because they're inside the 25. This is another incomplete pass. Goodrich is like upset everything, and there is no catch here. This is kind of fortuitous because the guy, this is a kick return, and number 3 is running upfield, and he turns right towards me and runs straight at me for 20 frames. I mean, I cut a lot, but just kind of cool how he's just running right at me. Then he makes his turn, and note how the A1 Mark II is able to manage IAF in the middle of all that traffic up in here. There's a lot of violence here. It's a lot of stuff to see through to see that human eye. And it's no problem. It does it great. I just love that camera. Nice hit here. 21 just comes in and just stops him. And it's a big collision, helmet to helmet and all that. And this frame is nice. The next frame is even better because you get better reaction from the hit here, I think. All the fans, all 2,000 fans, all whoa, it was really cool when this happened. But look how beautiful that is. The bokeh is just gorgeous. This is still just 300 millimeter prime. Now we're at 420 for another kick return. He's gotten up into traffic and he's trying to make it through. It's just a nice frame. Nice and tight. Again, coaches, look at the background. It's just, man, especially whenever somebody gets close to you with a 302.8, the background just goes away completely. It's gorgeous. And a lot of people would kind of complain and say, man, you're at 2000 ISO. What are you doing up there? It's because of this, man. 420 f4. I got to be at 5,000 of a second. Now, did I have to be at 5,000 to shoot a coach standing there? No. But, anyway. But I did for this. Pretty cool. You can see I'm cropping in really tight here because the ball's still in his hand. And then when he releases, I'm able to get another frame out of it and back out. This is I guess a mistake because I'm trying to get the catch from thrown pass, and this is over the end zone. But I kind of mess up, and I'm on the defender. But actually, it's kind of a nice react to what's happening because he knows right now it's too late. He can't he can't do anything about this touchdown. But then I get this, which is pretty cool. And then he looks right at me like, "Hey man, did you get me out of focus on that first frame? Come on, man." All right, enough of that. Again, still at 420 with a 1.4 converter attached. Again, another frame where I get the receiver and the quarterback throwing to him in the same frame. This is kind of cool. This happens a lot with the 300-2.8. Happens almost never with a 400-2.8. It's very unusual. I love this, him under pressure. It's just great. And he's dragging his foot on the guy's chin. And it's just cool, like all the... it's just great. I love these kinds of pictures. Yeah, this is cool. Fingertips only, just after the release. 300 millimeter, by the way. Here's the catch. Unfortunately, didn't go my way. Sternberger hauls it in, makes a few steps, and then falls into the end zone. And usually I don't show something this late, but it's in the end zone, and this guy's on his head, and it's just kind of cool. So I thought, yeah, I'll keep that one. That's kind of nice. In traffic, again, 420 still. So 1.4 converter. Sometimes you see these little moments where 96 is trying to pull the guy's helmet off, and he's already been sacked, but it's not enough. He's kind of trying to mess with him a little bit more. Little kick. Here's the receiving of that kick. And also, just take a look here. It's getting darker. It's 2,000th of a second. Look at how much motion blur there is on the ball at 2,000th of a second. I mean, it's just a lot. Now, he's sharp, but the ball's not. This is kind of a cool frame. There was like 3 frames here. I kept 2 of them. So 13's trying to get in there, and 55 is doing his job, or 53 maybe. I can't see what it is, but it's 33. But anyway, really nice frame. Eye autofocus, face detect. It's all working. Look at the background. I mean, it's just so cool. 420 millimeter. A lot of people would say, "Oh yeah, I don't like the 3 because it doesn't look like the 4." But man, this looks great. Here's the second frame where he's still falling in the air and still got the ball, and the camera's still able to do IAF on the guy while this guy's now going to fall on top of him. Pretty cool. Just running back getting hit. 420. Look how close they are to the opposite sideline of where I am. They're probably 15 or 20 yards ahead of me and all the way on the other side of the field. So this is really, really cropped in. This is probably a quarter of the frame, even at 420. Really like this picture. This is kind of cool of him under pressure, trying to get rid of the ball. And the look on his face says it all. It's kind of cool. 420 millimeter. Again, at 420, another number 1 has missed his assignment, and 11 is just gone. This guy is so fast. Reminds me of Eddie George. Just a little looser frame. This is, again, 300 prime, so I'm back down. I've dropped my ISO because I've got another stop to play with. And 2500 that f2.8. Here's the catch from that throw. Pretty cool. You can see all the sweat kind of beading. But you know what? 2500th of a second isn't fast enough because I'm in focus, but he's not sharp. And that's motion blur right there. So again, you just can't, 5,000th of a second is really what I want. This one's a little bit better, but it's not tack all the way around. It really isn't. But it's good enough. And then here, it's kind of cool. You can see the sweat coming off his face inside the helmet. And then it's finally sharp here. You can see all the sweat on his nose. His eye's blocked, but it's still a good frame. So a nice little series there. Just the catch, hauling it in. This was a great hit. This is probably the best hit of the game. This was incredible. 33 was booking. He was really moving full speed, and this guy just stands up and just stops him and pushes him back. It was really cool. Again, you get a little more room. You see more stuff with a 302.8 versus a 4. Kind of a nice frame. Again, this guy just always looks relaxed. Pretty cool. 420 millimeter. 420. And that's it. What do you think about the 302.8 versus the 402.8? Do you feel strongly that the 4 is still better because of its bokeh, or does it, I just think there's a lot of limitations with it because you have to use a monopod, even though the 402.8 from Sony is so light, you got to use a monopod. And I think the monopod really messes you up too. So I'd love to know your thoughts to see if, how many of you out there are thinking the way I am, that using a 3 in a converter is not a crime. And you save a whole lot of money. The 302.8 in Sony is less than half the cost of a 402.8. So pretty big deal. Thanks so much for watching.